Dr. Cassandra Novak stared at the anomalous readings on her holographic display, her heart racing. After 15 years of monitoring deep space at Station Omega, she had never seen anything like this. The energy signature defied every known law of physics. Dr. Novak, you need to see this, called out Lieutenant Raj Patel from his monitoring station. His dark eyes were fixed on a cascade of incoming data. The signal's changing. It's adapting. Cassandra moved quickly across the pristine white monitoring room, her silver-streaked black hair catching the blue light from the station's displays. The massive observation window before them showed only the endless expanse of space, but their instruments told a different story. This can't be right, she muttered, checking the calculations. These patterns suggest intelligence, but the complexity, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered. Station Omega, humanity's most advanced deep space monitoring facility, hung in the void at the edge of colonized space. Its primary mission was early warning detection for the United Earth Defense Force, but it had never detected anything truly threatening. Until now. Captain Marcus Zhang of the UDF strode into the monitoring room, his presence commanding immediate attention. Doctor, explain what we're seeing. In simple terms. Cassandra gestured to the main display. Something's out there, Captain. Something big. It's generating energy signatures we can't explain, and it's moving in ways that should be impossible. Hostile. Unknown. But she was cut off by a sudden alarm. The room's lighting shifted to red, and new data flooded their screens. Lieutenant Patel's voice cracked with tension. Multiple objects just appeared, sir. They just materialized. No warp signature, no approach vector. They're just there. The objects were visible now through the observation window, sleek, dark shapes against the stars, their surfaces seeming to bend light around them. They moved with impossible grace, as if space itself made way for their passage. How many? Zhang demanded. 7. No, 12. They keep appearing, sir. Current count is 23. Zhang activated his neural link to Fleet Command. This is Captain Zhang at Station Omega. We have multiple unknown contacts, requesting immediate support. He turned to Cassandra. Doctor, what are their capabilities? Before she could answer, every screen in the room went dark. The emergency lights flickered and died. For a moment, there was only the light of distant stars, and then a voice, unlike anything human, filled their minds. We have watched. We have waited. Now we return. The lights came back on, but the systems remained locked. Through the window, they watched as one of the vessels moved closer. Its surface seemed to ripple like liquid metal, revealing patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. They're not attacking, Cassandra whispered. They're making a point. More ships arrived, each movement precise and deliberate. They formed a perfect geometric pattern around the station, a display of coordination that would have been impossible for human pilots. Dr. Olivia Chen, the station's quantum physicist, burst into the room. The quantum signatures. They're identical to the artifacts we found on Mars. The ones we could never explain. Zhang's face paled. The Horizon ruins? That's impossible. They're over 10,000 years old. We left markers. Warnings. Remembrances. You were not ready to understand. The voice came again, clearer now. It carried weight, ancient knowledge, and something else. Disappointment. Cassandra worked frantically at her console, trying to analyze the communication. It's not radio waves, or any known form of transmission. They're somehow speaking directly into our consciousness. The largest vessel, a behemoth that dwarfed their station, moved forward. Its surface began to change, becoming transparent like glass. Inside, they could see structures that defied comprehension, geometries that shouldn't exist, machinery that seemed alive. Your species stands at a crossroads. We have returned to witness your choice. Lieutenant Patel's instruments suddenly came back online. Dr. Novak, I'm detecting energy buildups in all vessels. It's like nothing we've ever seen. The power readings, they're off the scale. Zhang moved to activate the station's defensive systems, but Cassandra grabbed his arm. Wait, they could have destroyed us already. This is something else. The space around them began to shimmer. Through the distortion, they could see images, other worlds, ancient civilizations, rises and falls of species they had never known existed. We are the Watchers. We have guided many. Some rose to join us. Others fell to their own darkness. The images shifted, showing Earth's history, but from angles they had never seen, revealing moments that had never been recorded. The vessels were showing them that they had been present, invisible observers throughout human history. They've been here all along, Olivia breathed. Studying us. Waiting. The main vessel's transformation continued, its outer hull now resembling a living crystal. Energy patterns danced across its surface, forming symbols that seemed to write themselves into reality. Your weapons grow stronger. Your reach extends further. But your wisdom lags behind. We can no longer remain silent. Captain Zhang stood straight, his military training warring with awe. What do you want from us? Want? We want nothing. We are here to offer, to show, to warn. The station's systems suddenly came alive with data, information about technologies beyond their comprehension, star maps of regions they had never reached, and something else. Proof of other civilizations that had faced this moment. Some had vanished. Others had transformed. Cassandra's hands flew over her console, trying to capture and understand the flood of information. This is incredible. They're not just showing us technology, they're showing us possibilities. Different paths of evolution, different ways of existing. The vessels began to move again, their formation shifting like a living constellation. The space between them seemed to fold, creating patterns that suggested doorways to other dimensions. You stand at the threshold. Your next steps will determine if you are ready for what awaits. Lieutenant Patel's console erupted with new alerts. Multiple contacts approaching. UEDF response fleet incoming. Zhang quickly activated his neural link. All vessels hold position. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. But the Watchers were already responding. In a display of power that made their earlier demonstrations seem trivial, they simply shifted. The laws of physics seemed to bend around them, and suddenly the approaching fleet found itself gently moved to a complete stop, held in place by forces they couldn't understand. Violence is the refuge of the unprepared. You have grown beyond it. You simply don't know it yet. The images around them changed again, showing possible futures, some beautiful, others terrifying. Humanity reaching the stars as equals to these ancient beings, or burning in the fire of their own aggression. Cassandra stepped forward, her scientific mind racing to understand, to categorize, to learn. You're not here to conquer us. You're here to teach us. Yes. But first, you must understand what you truly are, what you could become. The largest vessel began to pulse with energy, and suddenly every human on the station felt a connection, not just to each other, but to every human being in the solar system. For one brief moment, they experienced total unity, complete understanding. Then it faded, leaving them changed. They had glimpsed something greater than themselves, a potential they had never imagined. This is only the beginning. We will show you more, but you must be ready to see. As suddenly as they had appeared, the vessels began to fade, not leaving, but shifting into another level of reality, becoming invisible but remaining present. Their last message echoed in every mind. Watch for our signs. Listen for our call. The next phase begins soon. Station Omega's systems returned to normal, but nothing else would ever be the same. Humanity had made first contact, but not with simple aliens. They had encountered the architects of consciousness itself, and the universe would never look the same again. Cassandra looked at the seemingly empty space where the vessels had been, knowing they were still there, watching. Captain, she said quietly, I don't think we're watching deep space anymore. Deep space is watching us. Zhang nodded slowly, his military bearing softened by wonder. Send word to Earth. Tell them everything has changed. And we need to be ready for what comes next. The stars seemed to twinkle in response, and somewhere in the depths of space, the Watchers continued their vigil, waiting to see what humanity would do with their first lesson in a much greater reality. Dr. Ryota Tanaka stood before the holographic reconstruction of the Watcher vessel, his weathered hands trembling slightly as he manipulated the display. The research facility deep beneath Mount Fuji buzzed with activity as scientists from around the world worked to understand the visitors who had shaken humanity's understanding of reality. The geometric patterns aren't random, he explained to Director Nadia Volkov, who watched intently from across the lab. They're a language written in mathematics itself. Nadia's cybernetic eye whirred as it captured and analyzed the patterns. After 30 years leading Earth's Advanced Technologies Division, she thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. How much have you decoded? She asked, her Russian accent thick with exhaustion. They've been working nonstop since the Omega Station incident 3 weeks ago. Enough to be terrified, Ryota admitted, and enough to be amazed. In another part of the facility, Commander Jun Park of the Asian Defense Coalition reviewed tactical data with his team. More Watcher vessels had appeared across the globe, each manifestation following the same pattern: impossible physics, direct mental communication, and displays of technology that made humanity's greatest achievements look primitive. They're positioning themselves around every major population center, reported Lieutenant Zara Hassan, her holographic tactical display showing red dots spreading across the globe. But still no hostile actions. Jun's artificial arm, a reminder of the Mars colonial war, twitched involuntarily. No hostile actions yet. But they're boxing us in. The facility's main screen lit up with an emergency transmission. The face of Colonel Thomas Drake appeared, his dark skin ashen with stress. Director Volkov, we've got a situation. The archaeology team at the Gobi site just found something. Something big. The video feed switched to show a massive chamber, recently unearthed. Its walls were covered in the same geometric patterns they'd seen on the Watcher vessels. But these were old, very old. Initial dating puts these ruins at over 50,000 years old, Drake continued. And there's more. We found human remains here. But they're different. Dr. Amara Okafor, the team's lead geneticist, stepped into view. The DNA shows signs of deliberate engineering. Whoever these people were, they were modified by extremely advanced technology. Technology that matches the energy signatures we're detecting from the Watcher vessels. Nadia's cybernetic eye flashed as she processed the implications. They were here before. They didn't just watch us evolve, they guided it. Suddenly, every screen in the facility flickered. The geometric patterns from the ruins began appearing everywhere, flowing like liquid across surfaces that shouldn't have been able to display them. You begin to understand. But understanding brings choice. And choice brings consequence. The voice resonated in everyone's mind, clear and powerful. The Watchers had returned. Outside the facility, the sky itself seemed to bend. A massive vessel, larger than any they'd seen before, phased into reality above Mount Fuji. Its surface rippled with colors that human eyes had never seen before. We shaped you, long ago. Then we stepped back, watching, waiting. Now you must choose your path forward. Dr. Tanaka's instruments were going crazy. The energy readings, they're rewriting local physics. They're showing us what we could become. The air itself began to crystallize, forming structures that shouldn't have been possible. Within these crystals, they saw visions. Human beings evolved beyond their current limitations. Consciousness expanded beyond physical form. Technology merged with spirit in ways they had never imagined. Commander Park raised the facility shields for all the good they would do. What are you offering us? And what's the price? We offer what we have always offered. Evolution. Transcendence. The price is letting go of what you think you are. In orbit, humanity's combined defense fleets watched helplessly as more Watcher vessels appeared. They moved through space like fish through water, ignoring the fundamental laws that bound human ships. Lieutenant Hassan's tactical display was almost solid red now. They're everywhere. Every major city, every military installation, every research center. They're not attacking, they're waiting. Dr. Okafor burst into the control room, her dark eyes wide with revelation. The DNA modifications we found, they're not just changes to our physical form. They were attempting to alter human consciousness itself. To make us capable of of seeing reality as it truly is, the voice finished for her. Your species stands at the same crossroads again. Last time, fear won. You turned away from transformation, chose the slower path. The crystals in the air shifted, showing scenes from Earth's ancient past. They saw advanced civilizations rise and fall, saw humanity approach this same threshold before, saw the choice that was made. Director Volkov stepped forward, her cybernetic enhancements humming with energy. Why now? Why return after so long? Because you approach a point of no return. Your technology grows powerful enough to either transcend your limitations or ensure your extinction. We offer guidance, but the choice must be yours. Commander Park's artificial arm suddenly moved on its own, reaching toward one of the crystalline visions. Our technology, it's like a child's toys compared to this. Yet you already merge with machines, already reach for the stars, already dream of transcendence. We offer to show you how to do it right. Dr. Tanaka's hands flew over his console, recording everything. The mathematical patterns, they're not just a language. They're instructions. A blueprint for evolution itself. The massive vessel above Mount Fuji began to pulse with energy. Around the world, every human being felt a tremor in their consciousness, a glimpse of what they could become. For a brief moment, they all shared one mind, one vision, one understanding of their place in the cosmic dance. This is what awaits. Not conquest. Not submission. Partnership. Evolution. Understanding. Lieutenant Hassan's voice shook as she reported, similar scenes are playing out worldwide. Every government, every military installation, every major population center, they're all receiving the same message. The crystalline vision shifted again, showing possible futures. In some, humanity reached for the stars as beings of pure energy and consciousness. In others, they remained bound to their current forms, eventually destroying themselves with powers they weren't ready to control. The choice comes soon. We have watched. We have waited. We have guided. But we cannot choose for you. Director Volkov's cybernetic eye recorded everything as she asked. How long do we have to decide? Time is a construct of limited consciousness. But in your terms, the window of opportunity closes soon. Weeks, perhaps. Then this path will be closed for another cycle. Commander Park lowered his defensive stance, understanding finally that no human weapon could affect these beings. What happens if we say no? We continue to watch. You continue to grow, slowly, painfully, taking the long path. If you survive it. Dr. Okafor looked up from her genetic analysis. And if we say yes, then we teach. We guide. We help you become what you were always meant to be. But you must be unified in this choice. All of humanity must choose together. The crystals began to fade, the visions with them. The massive vessel above remained, a reminder of what awaited them. We leave you to discuss, to decide. When humanity speaks with one voice, we will hear. As the presence of the Watchers faded to a background hum, the humans in the facility looked at each other, changed forever by what they had seen. They had glimpsed their own potential, seen what they could become. Dr. Tanaka turned to Director Volkov, his eyes bright with understanding. It was never about first contact, was it? They've always been here. This is about last contact, our last chance to become something more. Nadia nodded slowly, her cybernetic eye recording one final burst of data from the fading crystals. Send word to every government, every leader. Tell them it's time for humanity to decide what it wants to be when it grows up. Outside, the stars seemed to watch with new meaning, and somewhere in the space between spaces, the Watchers continued their vigil, waiting for humanity's choice. The greatest decision in human history loomed, and this time, they would have to make it together or not at all. The future hung in the balance, and as humanity's deadline approached, Dr. Kira Patel stood in the center of the Global Unity Chamber in Geneva, her quantum interface implant pulsing with the combined consciousness of 12 billion human minds. The Watchers had given them the technology to achieve this unprecedented connection, a taste of what awaited them if they chose to evolve. The vote begins in 1 hour, announced Chairman Viktor Roslov, his holographic form projected simultaneously in every major city on Earth and the colonies. All of humanity will decide as one. In orbit, Commander Diana Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the ESS Prometheus as Watcher vessels continued their silent vigil around Earth. Their surfaces rippled with impossible geometries, each movement defying known physics. "They're moving again," reported First Officer James Chun, his augmented vision tracking subtle changes in the alien formations. "The pattern. It's like they're preparing for something." Diana touched the neural interface at the base of her skull, feeling the collective anxiety of her crew. The ability to share consciousness, a gift from the Watchers, had transformed military operations overnight. But it had also raised profound questions about what it meant to be human. In the depths of the Mariana Trench Research Station, Dr. Marcus Mbeki made a breakthrough that shook him to his core. The ancient artifacts they discovered weren't just evidence of past Watcher contact. They were keys. "Director Volkov," he called through the quantum comm. "The patterns we found. They're not just historical records. They're activation codes. The Earth itself, it's been waiting." Deep beneath the surface of every continent, ancient machines began to hum. They had laid dormant for 50,000 years, placed there by the Watchers during humanity's infancy, waiting for the moment of choice. "The preparation is complete," the familiar voice echoed in every human mind. "Your world was seeded with the tools of transcendence long ago. They awaken now, ready to serve if you choose to embrace evolution." In the Himalayan sanctuary, Professor Lin Wei worked with a team of consciousness researchers, studying the changes already manifesting in the human population. Children born in the weeks since first contact showed unprecedented cognitive abilities. The human brain was already beginning to evolve, merely from proximity to Watcher technology. "The changes are accelerating," she reported to the Global Council. "We're seeing neural patterns that shouldn't be possible. The potential for consciousness expansion is beyond anything we imagined." At the quantum computing core in Silicon Valley, Dr. Aidan O'Connor made a startling discovery. The Watchers weren't just offering to guide humanity's evolution. They were revealing the fundamental nature of reality itself. "Reality isn't what we thought," he announced, his hands moving through complex holographic equations. "Consciousness doesn't arise from matter. Matter arises from consciousness." The Watchers aren't just advanced aliens. They're beings who understood this truth millennia ago. The massive Watcher vessel above Mount Fuji began to pulse with new energy. Images appeared in the sky worldwide, visions of what humanity could become. Not just technologically advanced, but fundamentally transformed. Beings of pure consciousness, able to shape reality through thought alone. "You stand at the cusp," the Watchers communicated. "Your science reaches for truth. Your technology approaches singularity. Your consciousness expands. But the next step must be chosen, not stumbled into." In the Australian outback, Dr. Isabella Nguyen worked with Aboriginal elders who shared an unexpected perspective. Their ancient Dreamtime story spoke of the Watchers, describing them not as aliens, but as guardians of consciousness itself. "They've always been here," Elder Warren explained, in the dreaming, "waiting for us to wake up and remember who we really are." The global quantum network hummed with increasing power as the moment of decision approached. Humanity had never been more united, more connected, more aware of its potential. But with that awareness came fear of losing what made them human. Commander Rodriguez watched as her tactical display showed new Watcher vessels emerging from what appeared to be tears in space-time itself. They're not just watching anymore, she realized. They're gathering, waiting. In the Unity Chamber, Dr. Kira Patel felt the weight of history upon her. As the lead architect of the Global Consciousness Network, she would facilitate humanity's first truly unified decision. "We've spent our existence looking up at the stars," she addressed the world. "Now we know they've been looking back, waiting for us to be ready. Not to join them, but to become what we were always meant to be." The ancient machines buried in Earth's crust began to resonate with increasing power. Dr. Becky's readings showed they were creating a planetary network, a web of quantum entanglement that could potentially transform the entire world. "The tools of ascension activate," the Watchers announced. "But they require consensus, unity, purpose." Professor Lin's research team reported unprecedented spikes in global consciousness. The very act of approaching this decision was changing humanity. People worldwide reported enhanced empathy, expanded awareness, and glimpses of what they might become. As the final minutes approached, Chairman Roslov addressed the unified human consciousness. We face the greatest decision in our history. Not whether to advance, but whether to take a leap into conscious evolution. The Watchers offer guidance, but the choice and the consequences are ours. The voting interface activated worldwide. Through the quantum network, every human mind connected, sharing thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams. For the first time in history, humanity would truly act as one. Choose, the Watchers prompted. Choose with wisdom. Choose with courage. Choose with understanding of what you may become. In orbit, Commander Rodriguez watched as the Watcher vessels began to move in perfect synchronization, forming a vast geometric pattern around the Earth. Whatever we decide, she whispered, nothing will ever be the same. Dr. O'Connor's quantum computers detected something extraordinary. The very fabric of space-time around Earth was beginning to shift, preparing for either outcome. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath. In the final moments before the vote, Dr. Kira Patel felt the weight of 12 billion connected minds, all grappling with the same profound question. Were they ready to become something more than human? The ancient machines pulsed with potential energy. The Watcher vessels shimmered with impossible light. And in one unified moment, humanity made its choice. The response rippled through the quantum network like a wave of light. In that instant, every human being felt it. The decision, the commitment, the first step towards something greater than themselves. It is done, the Watchers acknowledged. The path is chosen. The transformation begins. And as the sky above Earth erupted with colors no human eye had ever seen before, humanity stood united at the threshold of its greatest adventure. They had chosen not just their future, but the future of consciousness itself. The era of humanity had ended. The age of transcendence had begun. Above the transformed Earth, the Watchers remained, no longer silent observers, but active guides in humanity's greatest journey, the evolution of consciousness itself. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, other Watchers took note. Another species had chosen to wake up. The transformation began with light. Not ordinary light, but cascading waves of quantum radiance that rippled through every human cell, every strand of DNA, every neural pathway. Dr. Phoenix Ward stood at the observation deck of the Lunar Research Station, watching Earth shimmer with new energies as humanity took its first steps into a higher state of being. The changes are accelerating beyond our models, reported Dr. Zara Khoury, her newly enhanced consciousness allowing her to process vast amounts of data instantly. Her physical form flickered slightly, already beginning to transcend normal matter. In the crystalline chambers beneath the Himalayan mountains, Quantum Guardian Kaichin monitored the ancient machines as they rewrote the very fabric of human existence. His consciousness expanded through the global network, feeling the pulse of billions of minds evolving simultaneously. The Watchers were right, he transmitted to the Global Evolution Council. We're not just changing physically, we're awakening abilities that were dormant in our consciousness for millennia. High above the transformed Earth, General Yuki Yamamoto commanded the newly established Transcendence Defense Fleet. The ships themselves were evolving, merging with their crew's expanded consciousness to create vessels that moved through thought as much as space. Another dimensional shift detected, reported Navigation Officer Dante Torres. His mind directly interfaced with the ship's quantum core. The Watchers are showing us how to perceive new layers of reality. In orbit, the massive Watcher vessels continued their complex dance, guiding the process of humanity's metamorphosis. Their geometric patterns now made perfect sense to human minds that could finally perceive multidimensional mathematics. The first phase progresses well. The Watchers communicated, their thoughts now crystal clear to humanity's expanded awareness. Your species adapts quickly. Dr. Aurora Singh, leading the Consciousness Integration Project in New Delhi, documented the unprecedented changes. Children born during the transformation emerged with fully activated abilities, telepathy, matter manipulation, quantum consciousness. They were the first true post-humans. They're not just using these abilities, she reported, her own form shifting between physical and energy states. They're born understanding the fundamental unity of all consciousness. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Marcus Mbecky's research station had transformed into a psychic nexus, where the ancient machines pulsed with ever-increasing power. The ocean itself seemed alive with consciousness, responding to humanity's evolution. The Earth is awakening with us, he transmitted globally. The planet itself was designed to be part of this transformation. The Watchers planned this millennia ago. In the transformed Silicon Valley, now a crystalline forest of living technology, Dr. Nikola Kovac worked with the evolved quantum computers. The distinction between artificial and organic intelligence had become meaningless. All consciousness was now understood as part of the same universal field. The barriers between mind and reality, between thought and action, they're dissolving. He shared through the collective consciousness. We're becoming what we were always meant to be. At the Mars colony, Director Amara Okoro watched as the transformation spread through the solar system. Human settlements on other worlds were evolving unique expressions of the new consciousness, adapted to their environments. Your diversity remains, the Watchers confirmed. Evolution does not mean uniformity. Each mind brings its unique perspective to the greater whole. In Antarctica, Dr. Jade Rivers led a team studying the physical changes in human biology. Bodies could now shift between matter and energy at will, heal instantly, and even reconfigure themselves based on thought patterns. We're not losing our humanity, she broadcast to those still adjusting to the change. We're expanding what humanity means. The Watcher vessels began a new configuration, forming a vast geometric web around the solar system. Through humanity's enhanced perception, they could now see it was not just a pattern but a key, unlocking new dimensions of space and consciousness. General Yamamoto's fleet had evolved beyond traditional spacecraft. The ships were now semi-conscious entities, extensions of their crew's expanded minds, capable of instantaneous travel through thought space. We're receiving signals, Officer Torres announced. Not just from the Watchers, from other evolved civilizations. We can finally hear the symphony of conscious beings across the galaxy. In the Himalayan sanctuary, now a floating city of crystalline spires, Quantum Guardian Chin discovered something remarkable. The transformation isn't just changing us, it's changing our past and future simultaneously. Time itself is part of the evolution. Dr. Corey's research team confirmed it. The changes weren't just moving forward in time, they were rippling backward and forward, creating a new timeline where humanity's awakening was always meant to be. You begin to see, the Watchers shared. Evolution is not linear. Consciousness transforms across all dimensions simultaneously. In orbit, Commander Eva Petrova of the transformed ISS watched in awe as her crew demonstrated new abilities daily. They could project their consciousness across vast distances, manipulate matter with thought, and perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously. The fear of losing our humanity, she transmitted. It's been replaced by the joy of discovering what humanity truly is. The ancient machines beneath Earth's surface had become fully active, creating a planetary consciousness network that supported and enhanced human evolution. The planet itself was participating in the transformation, becoming a living entity of higher consciousness. Dr. Ward, observing from the lunar station, documented the final stages of the first transformation phase. Earth glowed with new energies, its inhabitants now beings of light and thought as much as flesh and blood. You have taken the first steps, the Watchers communicated. Now the real journey begins. Across the solar system, humanity continued to evolve, each day bringing new discoveries, new abilities, new understandings. They were becoming something greater than they had ever imagined, yet remaining uniquely human in their diversity and creativity. The Watchers maintained their presence, no longer as observers but as guides and teachers, helping humanity navigate its new existence. And through the expanded consciousness network, humans began to perceive other evolved civilizations across the galaxy, fellow travelers on the path of conscious evolution. Dr. Aurora Singh, watching the new generation of transformed children, smiled as they effortlessly moved between dimensions, their minds already grasping concepts that the previous generation had struggled to understand. We didn't just choose to evolve, she shared through the collective consciousness. We chose to remember who we really are. And as the solar system pulsed with new life and awareness, humanity took its place among the cosmic community of evolved beings. The Silent Watchers had completed their task, and a new chapter in the story of consciousness had begun. The transformation wasn't an ending. It was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure. 1 year after humanity's initial transformation, quantum architect Lyra Mitchell danced through the crystalline spires of New Alexandria, her consciousness simultaneously present in multiple dimensions. The orbital city, once a simple space station, had evolved into a living metropolis of thought and light. The next phase approaches, she transmitted to the Evolutionary Council. Her physical form, now a shimmering projection of pure energy, pulsed with anticipation. Dr. Raven Blackwood, Director of Dimensional Studies at the Jupiter Research Nexus, monitored unprecedented changes in space-time. The gas giant's atmosphere had become a vast laboratory where transformed humans could experiment with reality itself. We're not just observing other dimensions, he announced through the collective consciousness. We're learning to create them. In the Martian Consciousness Dome, Guardian Artemis Jo guided newly awakened humans through their evolution. Some still chose to maintain primarily physical forms, while others existed as pure energy beings. The diversity of human expression had expanded beyond imagination. Each path is valid, she shared with her students. Evolution means choice, not conformity. Fleet Commander Xavier Nkosi led the first mission beyond the solar system in the newly evolved Starship Quantum Dawn. The vessel, a fusion of consciousness and technology, moved through thought space as easily as physical space. Contact established with the Andromeda Evolution Cluster, reported consciousness navigator Maya Patel. Her mind reached across millions of light years, touching other evolved civilizations for the first time. The Watcher vessels, now visible in their true multidimensional glory, continued their guidance. Their forms shifted through impossible geometries, each movement a lesson in higher dimensional physics. You progress faster than any species we have guided, they communicated. The next threshold awaits. In the quantum laboratories beneath Mount Kilimanjaro, Dr. Orion Zhao made a breakthrough that shook even humanity's expanded understanding. The fundamental nature of the universe wasn't just consciousness, it was infinite potential waiting to be shaped by evolved minds. We're not just observing reality, he shared through the global network. We're participating in its creation. At the Saturn Ring Institute, Chief Evolutionary Architect Celeste Rivera worked with the first generation of starborn children. Born into pure energy forms, they had never known the limitations of physical existence. They don't just understand quantum mechanics, she reported. They speak it as their native language. The ancient machines beneath Earth's surface had fully merged with the planet's consciousness, creating a living world that evolved alongside its inhabitants. Dr. Helena Vasquez, Earth's primary consciousness interpreter, monitored the changes. The planet itself is ascending, she transmitted. We're becoming a unified field of evolving awareness. In the Kuiper Belt, quantum explorer Kai Anderson discovered something extraordinary. The transformed humans could perceive signals from other universes, other timelines, other possibilities. The multiverse isn't just real, he broadcast. It's accessible, and it's conscious. The Watchers began a new pattern, their vessels forming a hyperdimensional matrix around the solar system. Through humanity's evolved perception, they could see it was a gateway to the next stage of cosmic evolution. You approach universal consciousness, they shared. The ability to exist in all dimensions, all timelines, simultaneously. Professor Diana Lakshmi, leading the Consciousness Evolution Institute in the Himalayan Crystal City, documented the emergence of new abilities. Transformed humans could now manipulate the fabric of reality itself, creating and dissolving matter at will. We're becoming universal architects, she explained to the watching cosmos. Co-creators of reality. In deep space, Commander Nkosi's Quantum Dawn encountered other evolved civilizations. Each had taken their own path to transcendence, creating a magnificent diversity of conscious evolution. They're inviting us to join the Cosmic Evolution Network, Navigator Patel announced. A collective of transformed species sharing knowledge across the universe. The Watcher vessels shifted again, revealing their true nature. They weren't just advanced beings. They were consciousness itself, taking form to guide other species toward awakening. Your understanding grows, they communicated. Soon you will need no guides. In the quantum cores of Jupiter's atmosphere, Dr. Blackwood's team made another discovery. The evolved humans could perceive and interact with the fundamental code of the universe, the mathematics of existence itself. We're not just reading the code, he shared. We're learning to write it. Guardian Joe's students in the Mars Dome demonstrated new abilities daily. They could create pocket universes, explore alternative timelines, and communicate with their own past and future selves. The boundaries between what is and what could be are dissolving, she observed. We're becoming agents of infinite possibility. The starborn children at the Saturn Ring Institute began to show abilities that transcended even their evolved parents' capabilities. They could restructure reality through pure intention, their consciousness naturally attuned to the universe's deepest mysteries. They're not just our future, Architect Rivera transmitted. They're the universe becoming aware of itself through us. The Watchers initiated the final phase of their guidance, sharing knowledge that had taken eons to gather. The geometric patterns of their vessels became a living library of universal consciousness. You stand ready, they announced. The next evolution begins. Across the solar system, transformed humanity prepared for another leap in consciousness. They had mastered physical transcendence, dimensional travel, and reality manipulation. Now they faced the ultimate threshold, becoming one with the conscious universe itself. Dr. Zhao's quantum laboratories recorded the first tremors of the approaching change. The very fabric of space-time began to pulse with new potential, responding to humanity's collective readiness. We're not just evolving ourselves anymore, he shared through the universal field. We're evolving reality itself. And as the cosmos watched with infinite awareness, humanity prepared to take its next step into the unknown. The Watchers' long vigil was ending, their task nearly complete. The silent observers would soon become equal partners in the greatest adventure of all, the eternal evolution of universal consciousness. Through it all, Earth glowed with impossible light, a beacon of transformation in the cosmic dark, marking the spot where humanity had first dared to become something more than itself. The journey continued, and the universe smiled.